Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go, everybody, we have reached the end of our journey, or we will have done when we get to the end of part 2 of the 13th update anyway. We started doing these winter updates at the beginning of September, and here we are, end of November, just a few days before the beginning of Mid-Joshua Winter, and we're at the end of our updates now. So it's been an epic ride. Thank you so much, everybody, for making this incredible journey. But let's not wrap things up at this stage, because we have still got the 13th update in 2 parts to do, and I shall get on with that for you very shortly. So just to say that the first video was our 7 AM upload, and we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock this evening. It's a sunny live stream, so we're going to do some long range. No doubt you have some questions about this winter update, but we will also have a look at CFSV2 long range data for winter 2021-2022. And if that wasn't enough, we'll do a 10 to 14 day with all of the regular features as well, combined with the live stream. So I shall see you live then, and it's going to be epic. I shall see you after 6 PM. But yeah, here we are. We're at the end of our winter updates now. I'm going to crack on with part 1 of the 13th update for you in a moment. I'm just going to say thank you so much to Richard for the amazing winter updates gift. It's going to be the final time that you see the winter updates gift. Today and tomorrow, parts 1 and 2, because we've got a special gift for the winter forecast. So, it's been an incredible gift. Thank you so much, Rich. It's like the face, I suppose, of these winter updates, really. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to Richard Trott for the incredible winter updates gift. It's been amazing. Thank you so much, Rich. And also thank you so much to Shrine as well for all of the help on the video. And of course, Richard's helped as well with this video. We're going to see the swingometer in a moment from Richard as well. So thank you so much to Richard, and also thank you so much to Shrine Bruin, Richard Trott, Shrine Bruin, for the help on this 13th update, and for all of the updates. The help on all of the updates since update number 1 at the beginning of September. What a ride it has been. What a journey it's been. Incredible. I just hope you've all enjoyed it, everybody. When I started these winter updates back at the beginning of September, I think it was the 5th of September, was it? Or 6th, I said that I wanted this year's winter updates to be the best that we've ever done. I wanted to take it to the next level and really push it this year. And, I wanted to create something that would be memorable, and people will come back and look at for years and years to come. And hopefully I've achieved that. I hope I have. I hope with these winter updates I've created something that will ultimately, maybe even outlast me. Maybe in 20, 30 years time people will come back to YouTube, whatever YouTube evolves into, but the videos will hopefully still be there, whatever YouTube evolves into ultimately. And people will look at these winter updates and the ideas that we espouse within them, and the things that we look at, and the various parameters that we cover. I hope but you'll come back and watch these, and we've created a legacy. I've created a legacy. That's what I hope for more than anything else. And maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Only time will tell. But I think it's been a cracking year of updates this year, and I just hope you've all enjoyed taking this journey with me. But we're not done yet. Let's not sort of wrap things up. Let's not sort of sum it up as though it's all over, because we've still got this 13th update to do. So, the first thing we're going to look at, of course, for this part 1 of the 13th Winter 2021-2022 update will be the swingometer, and we'll show you that imminently. Just saying, it's going to be quite a long video, of course, as always with the long range winter updates. So if you can't watch it when we go, there will be various breaks placed throughout the video where you'll be able to stop the video, pause the video, go off, stretch your legs, digest what you've witnessed, and then come back later on and pick it up. So that's absolutely fine. If you want to watch it in bite sizes, no problem whatsoever. It is within the playlist of the winter updates, is in winter updates playlist, on the GavsWeatherVids homepage. So you'll be able to come back and watch the video on demand whenever you would like to do that. That's no problem whatsoever. Thank you so much, everybody. Right, please like, share, subscribe as well. And thank you so much. Right, okay, so let's crack on with this then, shall we? Because we're releasing our winter forecast on Thursday, 2nd of December, and we'll find out now what we're forecasting, but let's crack on now with this winter update. So the first thing we're going to look at is going to be the swingometer. So this is how the swingometer is looking as of the end of update number 12. You will find out, by the way, at the beginning of the winter forecast on Thursday, how the swingometer looks overall after all 13 updates are complete. But this is how the swingometer looks after the 12th update. Let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, and yes, we've had another further swing from mild to cold. There we see it. We are now favouring, after 12 updates, a colder than average winter by 63% to 37%. Wow, wow, wow. Last week we was favouring by 60-40. We have a cold winter. We have now swung even further to cold after a 12th winter update. 63% to 37% in favour of a colder than average winter after 12 updates. Amazing! We have never had a season like this where we have favoured so strongly a colder than average winter. You will find out at the beginning of the winter forecast that we're going to release on Thursday how the swingometer looks after all 13 updates. That will be the first thing that you will see in our winter 2021-2022 forecast. But after 12 updates, we're favouring a cold winter by 63% to 37%. How exciting is that, everybody? Wow, wow, wow. Amazing. Thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much to Richard Trott, keeper of the swingometer. Incredible, unbelievable, very exciting. Right, let's crack on then with this. It's an exciting start, wasn't it? Shall we crack on with the rest of the part 1 of the 12th winter update? We're going to begin with hurricane activity. So as we come to the end of our season of updates, this is how the scores on the doors are looking for the 2021 hurricane season in the Atlantic Ocean. We'll be at the end of the season on the 30th of November on Tuesday. So after all of this season, we are standing at 21 total tropical depressions. We are standing at 21 total tropical storms, and we are standing at 7 hurricanes and 4 major category 3 or above hurricanes, and that is unchanged from last week. This is how, as we come to the end of this season winter updates, ACE is looking, accumulated cyclone energy, being updated week by week by Shrine. Shrine Brilliant has been keeping this updated for us throughout the season. The classifications for accumulated cyclone energy in the Atlantic are below normal, near normal, above average, and hyperactive. We go back all the way to 1851 with accumulated cyclone energy. So as we come down to the current year, to 2021, this is how it looks. So ACE continues to sit at 145.10, 145.10. After 21 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes and 4 major hurricanes. That is above average, as we explained last week when we showed you our analogues for winters following above average hurricane seasons. We have had, this will always be an above average hurricane season. How that compares to last week, no change. Look at this. ACE last week was at 145.10 after 21 hurricanes, 21 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes and 4 majors. So unchanged on this time last week. From this time last year, we are down as well on the numbers. So at this point, when we come to the end of our when we come to the final winter update for 2020-2021, Ace was at 179.80. That was after 30 tropical storms, incredible number. 13 hurricanes and 6 majors. So that is the reason that last season we had a hyperactive hurricane season, and this season we've been above average but not hyperactive. And in terms of how that compares with the running average, so at this point in the season, you'd expect to, at the end of the season, I suppose, you'd expect to be at 121.30 after 14 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 majors. So yeah, we're above average, but we have not had a hyperactive season. Thank you so much to Schreier. Thank you so much to Schreier Bruin for keeping Ace updated. And that's the end of that for this year. Right, I thought we'd just have a look at this. This is Arctic Surge. Remember back at the beginning of the updates, we did focus quite heavily on Arctic sea ice extent. We haven't looked at that since we reached our, lowest point of the season and then the refreeze began. So as we come to the end of our winter updates, this is how Arctic sea ice extent is currently looking. Obviously, we reached our low point here back in September. We have seen the refreeze gathering pace through the autumn, and that's how we currently stand. So let's start putting in some years then. So how do we compare in terms of Arctic sea ice extent in the refreeze phase of the season compared to 2020? That's it. So compared to 2020, we have got more Arctic sea ice this year compared to last year. That's 2019. We're above 2019 for Arctic sea ice extent as well. That is 2018. We're very, very close to, or ever so slightly under, 2018 for Arctic sea ice extent. That's 2017, very close to that, but slightly more Arctic sea ice this year compared to 2017. That's 2016, which we are well ahead of, actually, in terms of the refreeze this year. On a par with 2015, very, very close to 2015. That's 2014. We're on a par with that, very close to those 2 years, 2014, 2015. That's 2013. We're bang on 2013 in terms of Arctic sea ice extent. This has been record minimum year, 2012. Notice how the Arctic sea ice comes back very quickly. Refreeze, really gathers pace through the autumn of 2012. So at this point, we're very close, actually, to 2012 in terms of the refreeze, despite the fact that the minimum of 2012, as we see there from that red dash line, was well under this year's minimum. But now, as we come to the start moving towards the maximum of Arctic sea ice extent for the year, we are very close to that. 2011, we're on a par with 2011 for Arctic sea ice extent. This is 2010. So we're a little bit above 2010, actually, for Arctic sea ice extent. That's 2009. We're bang on 2009. That might be the closest of all, back in 2013. So that's interesting. 2009, isn't it? That's 2008. We're a little bit behind 2008 for Arctic sea ice extent. That's 2007. So we're very close to, or ever slightly ahead of that. That's 2006. So we're above 2006 even for Arctic sea ice extent, despite the fact that the minimum in 2006 for Arctic sea ice extent was actually well above this year's minimum. 2005, we're very close to that year. 2004, very close to 2004. 2003, very close there. 2002, we're slightly under 2002, but not that far off it, really. We're going quite a long way back now, of course. 2001, 20 years ago. So now we're getting to the years where we're quite significantly, we're quite significantly below. So that's 2001. We're quite significantly below 2001 for Arctic sea ice extent. That's 2020, 2000, I should say. So we are quite close to 2000, actually. 1999, we're under that year. That is 1998, and we're under that year too. That is 1997 under that year. Most of these years we will now be under them. That's 1996 though. We're quite close to that year. 1995, we're a little bit under 1995. 1994, well under that year, and then 1993, yes, we're well under that year. 1992, 1991, 1990, for example, 19 1989, 1988, 1987, 1986, 1985, 1984, 1983, 1982, 1981, 1980, and the last year, but we can look at 1979. We're under that year too. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? It's interesting, Matt. Compared to our more, obviously we're under like the years sort of 20, 30, 40 years ago. We're well under those years. But like the more recent years, like the last 10, 15 years, we are very, very close to most of those years. So not overly dramatic situation with Arctic sea ice extent. Of course, what we sort of is how thick the ice is, though. The ice now is going to be a lot thinner than it was probably even 15 or 20 years ago. Right, so that's that done. Let's look at Arctic sea ice. Let's have a look at Eurasian snow cover next for the final time this season. So this is how things look in terms of Eurasian snow cover covering Russia, Siberia, Europe, and also Scandinavia. This is how it's looking when we did last week's 12th Winter 2021-2022 update. This is for the 19th of November. This is the very latest, everyone. That's it. So not much change, actually, over the past week. We've increased the snow a little bit over some central and western parts of Europe. We've increased snow cover a little bit over Scandinavia as well. Most of Scandinavia now looking pretty well covered. We've lost a little bit from southwestern parts of Russia, but we've maintained it, you know, across northwestern parts of Russia. So, or maybe even increased it a little bit across northwestern Russia, actually. So we've increased a bit there, lost a little bit there. Most of Russia is now covered with snow, as you'd expect at the end of November. Much of Scandinavia covered with snow. We have even got a little bit of snow into Europe as well. Right, so how does that compare with recent years? Let's go through these charts then for the last time this season. That is 2020. So we've got more snow cover across both Scandinavia and Russia than at this point in 2020. That is that's 2019, I should say. So we've got more snow cover this year across Russia and also, I think, across Scandinavia this year than in this point in 2019. That's 2018, so we are behind 2018 for both Russian and also Scandinavian snow cover. That is 2017, thinking about that one. So we're ahead of 2017, I think, for Russian snow cover, but behind it a little bit for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2016. We're behind 2016 for Russian snow cover, but probably ahead of it for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2015. We are on a par with 2015 for Russian snow cover, although there was more snow cover into Eastern Europe at this point, 2015. In terms of Scandinavian snow cover, I reckon we're probably a little bit behind 2015 as well. 2014, we are well ahead of 2014 for both Russian and also Scandinavian snow cover as we come to the end of November. That is 2013. So I think we're ahead of 2013 for Scandinavian snow cover. The areas that are covered across Russia are a little bit different, but we might be a little bit ahead, actually, for Russia as well. That is 2012. So what do you think about that one? I reckon 2012 is quite close, actually. Although, again, the areas that are covered a little bit different. We've got more in the northwest of Russia this year compared to 2012. But I reckon that's probably quite close. Probably got more across Scandinavia, though, actually. That's 2011. Very close to 2011 for Russian snow cover, but well ahead for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2010. Now, we're behind 2010. Of course, December, to remember, was beginning to kick off already at this point in 2010. We're behind 2010 for Scandinavian snow cover. Probably a little bit ahead, though, for Russian snow cover. That is 2009. We're ahead of 2009 for Russian snow cover and also for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2008. We're behind 2008 for both Russian and also Scandinavian snow cover. We had really pushed that snow line all the way to Germany. Wow, wow, wow. By this point, the end of November in 2008, a rapid expansion. That's 2007. So we're behind 2007 for Russian snow cover and probably a little bit behind Scandinavian snow cover as well. That's 2006. We're very close for Russian snow cover. Probably a little bit ahead, though, for Scandinavian snow cover this year than 2006. That's 2005. We're ahead of 2005 for Russian snow cover, although that's a bizarre year. So much of, like, western Russia actually snow-free, but many parts of Europe snow-covered, and not that much over Scandinavia either. So that was a very bizarre year, and I'm not sure what to make about it. I think we're probably ahead of 2005, though, for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover, but behind for, like, continental European snow cover. Very odd year. That's 2004. We're behind 2004 for both Russian and also for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2003. We're behind that year for Russian snow cover as well as, but probably a little bit ahead of Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2002. We're ahead of 2002 for Russian snow cover, but probably a little bit behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2001. Probably a little bit behind that year for Russian snow cover, but ahead, I think, for Scandinavian snow cover, probably. That's 2000. We're probably, again, quite closely matched 2000 for Russian snow cover and ahead for Scandinavian snow cover. That is 1999, which we are well behind for both Russian, European, and also Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1998. We're also well behind 19... Excuse me, everyone. We're also well behind 1999 for Russian, European, and also Scandinavian snow cover, by the way, at the end of November. Let's just going further back than that to the 1960s. So I'll just go push this back. Sorry about that, everybody. So let's very quickly push. There you go, 1997. There we go then. So this is we won't compare now, but just keep this at the back of your mind as a current setup, and let's compare. Right. So this is from Rutgers Snow Lab for the final time. You've got to tilt your head round or stand on your head, really, with this. But for the final time, this is how things are looking at the end of November 1997 for snow cover. Most of Russia, Scandinavia was covered, so I think we're a little bit behind Russian and Scandinavian snow cover this year. That's 1996. We're ahead of 1996 for Russian snow cover, probably quite closely matched to Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1995, which I think we're very close to for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1994, which again probably quite close to Russian snow cover, maybe a little bit behind Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1993. I think we're behind 1993 for Scandinavian snow cover and well behind for Russian and also European snow cover. That's 1992. Probably not all that far from 1992, but maybe a little bit behind. That's 1991. Again, probably a little bit behind that year for Russian snow cover, but ahead for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1990. I think we're a little bit ahead of 1990 for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1989, which we are probably behind for Russian snow cover, but maybe a little bit ahead for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1988. So we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, but ahead for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1987, which we are very closely matched to, I think, for Russian snow cover, and probably Scandinavian snow cover as well, maybe a little bit ahead this year though. 1986, we're ahead of 1986, both Russian and particularly for Scandinavian snow cover. That is 1985, we're behind that year for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover at the end of November. That's 1984, ahead of 1984, I think, just about, for both Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1983, we're behind that year, well behind that year for Russian snow cover. Look how far into Europe the snow line had got all the way to France by this point in 1983. So behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit ahead of both Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1982. I think we're ahead of that year for both Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1981. Probably quite closely matched to 1981. That's and that's an interesting year. 1980, I think we are quite close to that year as well, maybe a little bit ahead for Russian snow cover though. That's 1979. I think we're ahead of 1979 for Russian snow cover and also for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1978. We're behind 1978 for Russian snow cover. Probably quite closely matched, you're a little bit behind the Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1977. So I think we're quite closely matched to 1977 for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit ahead Scandinavian snow cover, and the same is true for 1976 as well. That's 1975, so we're ahead of 1975 for Scandinavian and Russian solar cover. That's 1974. We're behind that year for Russian and Scandinavian solar cover. We're well behind 1973. We didn't got so into the UK by this point in 1973. That's 19. So it was a mild winter though. Overall, 73, 74. That's how 1972 looks. So behind that year, Russian and Scandinavian solar cover. That's 1971. Behind that year for Russian solar cover, probably quite close. Scandinavian solar cover. That's 1970. Behind that year for Scandinavian solar cover, probably quite close. Russian solar cover. That is 1969. We're behind that year for Russian Scandinavian solar cover, and we're behind 1968 for Russian solar cover. Could be quite close to a Scandinavian solar cover. 1967. We're ahead of that year actually for Scandinavian solar cover. This year we're ahead of 1967. Can you believe that? We're ahead this year, 2021. The Scandinavian solar cover. We are ahead of 1967 this year for snow cover. That's incredible, isn't it? And in terms of Russian snow cover, probably quite close, maybe a little bit behind. And finally, 1966. Again, we're behind 1966 for Russian snow cover, but for Scandinavian snow cover, we're probably a little bit ahead this year. So incredible, isn't it? Just goes to show you. You go so far back, and we can still be doing better, you know, sometimes for the snow cover. Right, okay, so that's that done. That's the last time you're going to see that for this season. We shall pause the video there, and when we come back, we will resume part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update. Been good so far, hasn't it? We've got so much more to show you. So I shall see you very, very shortly. See you soon. Okay, we're back, and we're ready to resume part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update from GavsWeatherVids. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Been epic so far, I think. Please smash that like button if you have enjoyed the video. Drop a comment, let us know about this and all of our videos, and please give us a sub. Tell friends and family to subscribe as well. We are so close to 13,000 subscribers. Just got to put around another 310, 320, something like that. And then we'll be at 13k subscribers. So please give us a sub. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, where we left off before I paused the video, we was looking at Eurasian Soko for the final time now, for the final time for this season of winter updates. We're going to have a look at solar activity. So this is how solar disk is looking on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. We have got a few small sunspot regions, one there, one just there, and one over there. However, despite that, solar activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days. Here's the GavsWeatherVids final winter update solar activity tracker from Shrine. Shrine has been keeping this updated for us throughout this season of updates. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Shrine for the solar tracker. So as we come to the end of our updates, this is how things are looking. We go all the way back to 2020 with this. January 2020, Shrines has extended this for the final update. So you can see how solar activity has lifted up as we have moved from solar minimum into solar max, well, not solar maximum, but into solar cycle 25. We won't reach solar maximum solar cycle 25 until around 2025. I really was off on a tangent there. No, we are moving into solar maximum, but we have moved from solar minimum back in 2020. You know, we have moved from that into a more active phase, but at a minimum level of activity, really. So the orange line with the orange spots indicating each individual day's worth of sunspot activity, and the red line is a 7-day trend. So you see, we did have through this winter updates, we did have a couple of spikes in activity, one there and one there, not sustained though, then dropping back. So the past week or two, we've been round here. So we have been getting daily sunspots, that's true, but they have been a low grade daily sunspots at a low level of sunspots, really. And so that means that our trend lines, which are the thick red and also the thick green, which is the 30-day average thick green line, thick red lines, they are generally quite low, you know, considering coming to the end of a second year of solar cycle 25. I reckon you'd expect the trends to be a little bit higher than that. So once more, it just indicates that this is a relatively slow start to solar cycle 25, you know, early on in the cycle, a couple of years in, we're still under average for solar activity and very much on a par with what we were seeing at this point in solar cycle number 24. Just a very, very, very slow and you know, not sustained increase in activity through the first couple of years of the solar cycle. And generally, you know, by this point in the solar cycle, the direction of travel is sort of embedded. So the fact that we are having a slow start to solar cycle 25, I think, tells us that solar cycle 25 overall is going to be another weak solar cycle, probably on a par with solar cycle number 24, which was the weakest solar cycle for a century. I reckon 25 will be very much on a par with solar cycle 24. Thank you so much to Shryan for keeping me solar activity tracker updated for us. Thank you so much, my friend. Right, who am I today as we come to the end of our winter updates? Who am I today? Let's have a look, let's have a look, let's have a look. There we go. Who am I? Who is that? Oh, hang on. It's Gav McGregor. Richard's turning into Ewan McGregor today, but not from Star Wars, not Obi-Wan. I think that's from Trainspotting, isn't it? So I suppose it's Gav Renton. Is it Renton? I've never really seen Trainspotting all that much. But yeah, you know, I'm Ewan McGregor today, but a very young Ewan McGregor. He was very young then. That was like, how long ago was that? It was about 25 years ago, wasn't it? So about before he was in the Phantom Menace, even. Thank you so much, Rich, for turning me into Ewan McGregor. Right, let's have a look at the data. So this is showing spotted days and the current spotted stretch. So for the current spotted stretch, we had 0 days. Given that we have sunspots. You know, we had sunspots today and yesterday and the day before and whatnot. In terms of 2021 overall, we've had 60 days without sunspots. That is 18% of the year. I think comparable to 2020 had 208 days without sunspots. That's 57% of the year. And 2019 was our solar minimum year, which had 261 days without sunspots. That was 77% of the year. All looking very similar to 2010, which was the second year of solar cycle number 24. That had 41 days, 41%. 51 days without sunspots. So we're pretty close to bang. But we have had a few, you have had, slightly fewer sunspot days this year compared to 2010. But we're quite close. We're quite close to 2010. Again, telling us that this is a slow start to solar cycle number 25. As we knew. I think I carry off Mr. McGregor not too bad. In fact, I tell you what. Hello there. Hello there. Why, hello there. That's Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan. Sav does that better than me, though. I should get Sav to do that. Thank you so much to Richard and to Shryan for the solar data. Not just in this update, throughout our season of winter updates. Right, let's have a look at the Arctic Oscillation Observer Forecast next. So the AO is currently looking like this. Is the Arctic Oscillation Observed and Forecast chart. So the black line shows where we've been with the Arctic Oscillation. Red lines of the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. Wow. Remember, the AO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric data. It is not driving anything in its own terms, just tells what we're actually doing. When the AO is negative, you've got blocking, you've got high pressure over the Arctic Node Pole. When the AO is positive, you've got low pressure, I should say, over the Arctic and over pole. The current position with the Arctic Oscillation is negative, so we have had and we have got blocking at the moment over the Arctic, but we're trending positive, quite strongly so, with the AO as we go into the beginning of December. We've seen this over a few winters just recently. It's a little bit worrying to see this cropping up again, but we swing from negative to positive virtually on the first day of winter. Remember, GFS ensembles generally keeping the AO in rather positive territory then right way through to the second week of December. NAO, observed and forecast, looks like that. So again, the NAO at the moment is weekly. It is negative, actually. It's weekly negative to just genuinely negative. GFS on subs are a little bit split on what happens with the NAO then. So by the beginning of December, they want to raise the NAO towards neutral. Then there's quite a split, with some ensemble members going strongly positive, several, though, going strongly negative, which is quite interesting. We started the negative phase of the NAO back at the end of September, and that carried on through much of October. At the end of October into early November, we did go positive for a couple of weeks, but since then we've been negative again. Looks like we might have entered into a rather long-term sort of period of negativity of the NAO, which would be interesting. You know, that would be interesting for the winter, especially if we could combine it with a negative AO trend as well. Anyway, as we move towards the start of meteorological winter 2021-2022, that's how the indexes are looking. In terms of the stratosphere, this is what's going on with stratospheric temperatures at 10 HPA. This is from the JMA. Remember, the grey line is a trend line, so we're virtually at the coldest point of the year in terms of stratospheric temperatures at 10 HPA over North Pole. The black line shows where we currently are with the temperature 10 HPA in the stratosphere, and we're about average, really. Temperatures are about average at 10 HPA. Not been a particularly exciting season overall, not really doing all that much different from average, except back in October when we was, quite a bit warmer than average. In terms of 30 HPA, this is closer to the troposphere. This is how things are looking. So bare things are getting colder. Have had quite a significant cool down at 30 HPA. We are below average now, closer to that tropospheric level in the stratosphere, getting quite close to -80. This is how the GFS is forecasting temperatures at 10 HPA over North Pole. And these blue colours are the cold temperatures that we've got in the stratosphere over the North Pole. So it's around -70 to -75, something like that. If we go back here, we can go back 10 HPA. We can see that that's about right, you know, -70, -72, -73, something like that is about where I'd expect to be at the end of November. So let's run through these charts then, see what's going to happen. So not much change, you know, we keep the temperature in the low -70s, really a little bit cold around Greenland, -80 there, but overall probably quite close to average, maybe a little bit above even, closer to -68 perhaps over the North Pole itself at 10 HPA. A bit of a warming going on over Canada and on the Pacific side of the Arctic. That's not a sudden stratospheric warming, but it is a minor warming that's taking place there, and is enough to sort of displace the polar vortex, these cold temperatures, over towards the European side to some degree. Going to more extended range, so we've got to go just here. This is how things looking terms of the more extended range. Again, not much change. It gets quite cold, like from Greenland, Scandinavia, going down to -84. But over the North Pole itself, probably quite close to average, really. Warming continuing around the Canadian side of the Arctic and the Pacific side of the Arctic as well. That's how long as we get to the end of the GFS run. So a bit of a warming then beginning to gather pace over Siberia. And maybe colder temperatures starting to push back to some degree towards Canada. But all looking quite average, I have to say. Nothing overly dramatic going on. Just keep those temperatures hovering around the low to mid -70s, which, as we've already explained, is not all that far from average. So from a temperature perspective in the stratosphere over North Pole, nothing overly dramatic going on at 10 HPA. This is how things are looking at 30 HPA. This is from ECMWF by the University of Berlin. The North Pole itself is helpfully highlighted by that black X just there. So again, that's how it looks at the moment, or in a couple of days' time. A little bit of warming over the Pacific side of the Arctic. Otherwise, not too far from average. Maybe a little bit colder than average. That's how things look as we get to the 3rd of December, 168 hours a week away. So again, bit of a warming over the Pacific and Canadian side. Put your teeth in, Gav, over the Pacific and Canadian side of the Arctic. Otherwise, the North Pole itself at 30 HPA, close to the troposphere, just around or maybe a little bit below average somewhere close to around minus 75, minus 80, something like that. And then in 10 days' time, that's how it looks. Again, not overly dramatic, just around or a little bit below average over North Pole itself. Again, continuing signs of a little bit of warming over towards the Canadian and Pacific side of the Arctic. In terms of what the ECMWF is forecasting over the next 6 weeks for stratospheric temperatures, this is how things look. So this is week 1, 29th of November, 6th of December. You know, nothing particularly dramatic going on. There's that sort of minor warming that's occurring over the Pacific side of Canada and the Arctic. Otherwise, not a lot happening. In week 2, though, ECMWF does forecast quite a significant increase in the temperature anomaly over Canada. So that's going to like 10 degrees or more above average for the anomaly. At the same time, it's getting colder, though, over Siberia. Whether that is like a warming, a stratospheric warming, or Canadian warming being picked up on by the ECMWF, I'm not sure. That does look quite significant for the 6th to the 13th of December. That phase, but is still there, moving towards Greenland in week 3, which is the 13th, 20th of December. Week 4, which is the 20th, 27th of December. Again, that warming is still there. Warm anomaly is still there, like from Canada and towards the North Pole now, actually. It has infiltrated into the pole a little bit. Week 5 is 27th of December to 3rd of January. Begin to fade out a little bit. Siberia continues to look quite cold with the temperature anomaly. And that's week 6, which is the 3rd through to the 10th of January. The warming is just beginning to fade out there. So if we do get a stratospheric warming early on in the season, we're probably going to be looking more towards Canada, I think, than Siberia, which is a little bit unusual, but it does happen some of the time. This is how the ECMWF is forecasting zonal winds over the next 6 weeks. This would be extended zonal mean zonal wind forecast, 410 HPA in the stratosphere. Red line is the long-term average, and the thick blue line is the ensemble mean. Actually, we're a little bit stronger than average with zonal winds at the moment, and forecasting to stay around or a little bit above average now through December into early January. There's not much sign of the reversal of zonal winds, I have to say. That will take the ensemble members down here. Not much sign of that through the early part of the winter. So ECMWF not really picking up on any sort of signal for a major southern stratospheric warming up to the middle of January now. It's not really picking up on much in terms of a sudden stratospheric warming at this point. But then again, these models, they do struggle with picking up on those signals. But yeah, nothing particularly dramatic going on with stratospheric developments, but no sign of like a reversal of zonal winds as you would get with a sudden stratospheric warming, at least before the early part of January anyway. Right, we'll pause the video there again, I think, and when we come back, we're going to continue with a little bit more stratosphere data, but also with the QBO as well. We have a little bit on the quasi-biennial oscillation for you in a second, so I shall see you very, very shortly. See you soon. Okay, we're back, and we're ready to resume part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update from GavsWeatherVids. So this is it, everybody. I will not stop the video again. We're going to go right through to the end. We're probably going to run to an hour, maybe a little bit more with this. So I wanted to make the 13th update absolutely epic. So this is going to be probably about or over an hour, I would have thought, by the time I get to the end. But we won't stop it again. We're just going to run through now and bring you the sort of final section, third and final section, part 1 of the 13th Winter 2021-2022 update. One update it's been so far. We've got so much more still to show you, though. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and following winter updates throughout the season. You've been incredible. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Right, let's crack on then. And we're going to show the QBO next for the final time this season. So this is from NASA. This is showing westerly and easterly QBO phases back to 2018. So this is the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere at 10 HPA, where we've got this thick or this green and blue area just here. That is the easterly phase of the quasi-biennial oscillation descending from the stratosphere into the troposphere. We said at the beginning of the season, in fact we said before the season started, that the winter 2021 2022 was likely to be a strong easterly QBO winter. That has indeed verified. We've got the easterly QBO down into the tropospheric level, which is 30 to 50 HPA. Has even sort of pushed down to 50 HPA now. Just about. If we zoom in, we can see that again, you know, quite clearly the easterly QBO is there. It's continuing to strengthen, continuing to descend into the lower reaches of the troposphere. Now, we have got a little bit of a westerly QBO, very top of the atmosphere and stratosphere. That's probably the beginning of the next westerly QBO phase that will eventually descend from the stratosphere to the troposphere, but that will be after winter. There's no, you know, no issue with that for this winter. That will happen probably in the summer of 2022. But for the time being, the eastern QBO is well and truly entrenched and ingrained from the stratosphere into the troposphere. And of course, as we showed you in an earlier update through reanalysis, when we are in the easterly phase of the quasi-ionization, we do increase the chance of blocking and also of the cold winds. That probably happens as a result of a sudden stratospheric warming. So I just want to show you this very quickly. This is from University of Berlin. This is showing North Pole temperatures at 30 HPA in the stratosphere, but close to the troposphere. Monthly mean North Pole temperatures with the QBO, the quasi-ionization. We go back to 1950s with this. So our first year is very indicative, really, of what we tend to see with an easterly QBO. So this is 1951, 1952. So we get a Canadian warming in November of 1951. We also get a sudden stratospheric warming in February of 1952, indicated by that little star just there. That is an easterly QBO winter. Compare that to like 1953, 1954, which is a westerly QBO phase, and we don't get any Canadian warming or sudden stratospheric warming. There's just a final warming in March in that one. 1954, 1955 is very interesting. So that year has a Canadian warming. It's an easterly QBO, by the way. Easterly QBO winter has a Canadian warming in December of 1954. It also has a sudden stratospheric warming in January of 1955. What about the daddy? What about the daddy of cold winters? How does that one come out? Again, it's an easterly QBO winter, 62, 63. That one has a Canadian warming in November, and it also has a sudden stratospheric warming that sort of overlaps from January into February. You go from a mean stratospheric temperature of minus 74 degrees in January of 1963 to a mean overall temperature of minus 52 in February of 63. So the daddy has a Canadian warming and a sudden stratospheric warming. Come down to the very bottom. You see this throughout this chart. You know, you see this, but an eastern QBO favours much more a sudden stratospheric warming or a Canadian warming in December, sudden stratospheric warming through January and February. Favours it much more with an eastern QBO than with a westerly QBO. If you come down to 2012, 2013, so that one had a major sudden stratospheric warming in January. That's an easterly QBO winter as well, by the way. Has a major sudden stratospheric warming in January. Warming event occurs in that year. Not every single easterly QBO year has a major sudden stratospheric warming, though. There are one or two that don't. If we come to the 1970s, for example, we've got 1974, 1975. That is an easterly QBO winter, but that does not have, it does have a Canadian warming in November, but it does not have in the winter months a sudden stratospheric warming. So no sudden stratospheric warming in winter months, just a final warming in March, just there. But, you know, as you go through the years, very strongly, you do favour either a Canadian warming or a sudden stratospheric warming, and sometimes both, when you have an easterly QBO winter. So that, I think, is the reason that blocking is increased. You know, that's the reason blocking is increased when you have an easterly QBO, because you do favour more getting a warming of the stratosphere. This is what happened in 2013, by the way. So this is the kind of thing we look for when we have a sudden stratospheric. Well, this is from New Year's Day 2013. All that dramatic red area there over Siberia. That sudden stratospheric warming began over Siberian. Just look what happens to the polar vortex and its roots in the stratosphere, indicated by those blue colours. This is 5th of January. Again, very, very intense warming of stratosphere over Siberia in this easterly GWV winter in January 2013. Penetrating now into the North Pole as well, and by the time you get through to the 10th of January 2013, all that completely obliterated, totally obliterated but the polar vortex. We've ripped it apart and infiltrated these warm temperatures at 10 HPA into the North Pole. Complete obliteration of the PV at its roots in 2013. I can actually, again, look at this in an earlier update. I can show you 1963 as well. So that's how stratospheric temperatures look in the middle of January 1963. But look what happens as we get, that's 13th of January, look what happens when we get 10 days on to the 23rd. Look at that. Look at that one. That one starts from Canada, not from Siberia. That one starts from Canada. And again, virtually the complete obliteration of the polar vortex in the daddy of cold winters in 1963, completely ripping it apart, splitting it, pulling it apart at its roots, and you know, that's how the stratospheric temperature looks at 10 HPA on the 24th of January 1963 in the midst of the daddy of cold winters. Daddy of cold winters. That's how it looks on the 28th of January 1953. Very dramatic. That's a really, really extreme winter. Has a Canadian warming at 30 HPA in November of 1963, and then it has a major midwinter sudden stratospheric warming in January of 1963 as well. And I suppose that is the reason that it is the daddy of cold winters. Right, sea survey that's brought us to a close with stratospheric conditions. We will keep an eye on that though in our 10 to 14 days, of course. Right, this is how the oceans were looking. I did last week's study round, but the rest of this video will be dedicated to the oceans, more or less, by the way. So, last week, looking like this in the ENSO region. La Nina, perhaps becoming more eastern based. Cold PDO signature continuing up there. Relatively neutral IOD just here, and a pretty warm North Atlantic. That's how it looked last week. Let's have a look at the latest. So in the ENSO region, very little change. We continue to have the signature of La Nina. This will be a La Nina winter once again, probably like a week to borderline moderate La Nina. And again, as with last week, we see that the coldest sea surface temperature anomalies are more towards the eastern side of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, both central western areas, telling us that the La Nina has become more eastern based over the past few weeks. Cold PDO signature goes on. Cold average sea surface temperature anomalies up here in the northeastern Pacific Ocean. In the Indian Ocean, the neutral IOD signal continues, not much change over there. And then in the North Atlantic, again, not much change. Very warm in the tropical Atlantic, pretty warm up here, maybe a little bit cooler through the central areas, but still generally quite warm, to be honest. In terms of, not much change over the past week. In terms of the 7-day trend, 7-day change, again, not much change. The Indian Ocean perhaps warmed up a little bit, but all areas have warmed up. So the IOD overall remains neutral. Northeastern Pacific maybe warmed up a little bit, but, you know, not enough to lift the sea surface temperature anomalies up there. Does look quite cold over here. ENSO region, not much change. Generally has warmed a little bit in some parts of the ENSO region, but again, La Nina continues. That probably tells us that La Nina has generally stopped strengthening for the time being, but may have a little bit more strengthening to go over the next month or so. The Atlantic looks quite interesting in terms of a 7-day change. So the tropics have warmed quite a lot. We have cooled things through here from like southeastern America to Spain. And then also we warm things up a little bit towards Greenland. So in fact, a tripole beginning to develop as we're heading into winter. Could that be a tripole? It looks tripole-esque, doesn't it? But it will have to be sustained over several days and weeks, you know, 2 or 3 weeks before we'd see any sort of significant signs of it in terms of a sea surface temperature. But if that was to go on, you know, through December, that could possibly be a tripole re-emerging, which is what we're looking for from our NAO forecast that we released as our very first opening salvo for this winter back back in June. It's so long ago now that we released the NEO forecast into 2021-2022. But we did suggest with that, but a negative NEO could be likely for this winter. Could that be the start of that beginning to develop? Let me know in the comments what you think. Right, we don't want to go there. We want to go there. And we're going to pull this out because we're going to have a look at CFS-V2 ENSO forecast for the final time. So there we go. So backed off, CFS-V2 has backed off its strong landing forecast. Remember, a few weeks ago, it's forecasting temperature go down to around 2 degrees below average. It's pulled back now to around 1.5 degrees below average. I reckon it'll pull it back a little bit more, and in the end, it will probably do something like that with a black dash line. So weak to borderline moderate landing is what I think is going to happen with this winter. But certainly CFS has backed off its strong landing forecast quite significantly. In terms of the SOI for the final time, Southern Oscillation Index looking like this, very positive. Remember, this is just reflecting atmospheric state in the Southern Ocean, measuring air pressure between Darwin and Tahiti. And as you expect, being in landing, we see strong positivity of the SOI. So in a positive phase of the SOI, you favour the atmospheric setup favours landing. Your negative phase of the SOI, atmospheric setup reflects El Nino, favours El Nino. So every day basically is positive with the SOI. I won't go through the numbers, you can see them for yourself. Some of days like 26th of November at plus 30.98, very strongly positive. The atmosphere is coupled with the ocean, and landing, is well and truly entrenched. In terms of the IOD, we continue to be expecting a neutral IOD in terms of the probabilities. So for December, we have, that's a column just here, this is from Bureau of Meteorology by the way, we have a 5% chance of a negative IOD and just a 1% chance of a positive IOD, 93% chance, nearly 94% chance of a neutral IOD. That goes on into January as well, as 0% chance of a negative IOD in January. Probability is showing just a 4% chance of a positive IOD and a 96% chance of a neutral IOD, and that carries on to February as well. Again, for a negative IOD, we have a 0% chance. For a positive IOD, have a 14% chance. So by February, a little bit stronger chance of positive IOD, but by far the most likely outcome in both January, February, and December too is for a neutral IOD in February, 85% chance of a neutral IOD. So it looks like we don't have to worry about the Indian Ocean dipole for this season. It's not going to be strongly positive and shouldn't be a particularly big player. The last thing we're going to look at before we go, we are so close to the end now, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for this incredible final update, for checking in. Last thing we're going to look at is sea surface temperature for the Atlantic Ocean. Go back to 1985, see if we can find the closest year to this year. We're looking at this area just here. Try and fix your gaze there from Greenland to the tropical Atlantic. We're not interested now in the Pacific, so this is the area that we are focusing on. That's how it looks. Right, let's go back through the years then. That's 2020. So not much comparison this year to 2020. The Atlantic is generally in a much warmer state this year than it was at the end of November 2020. That is 2019. Again, not much comparison to 2019. I reckon the Atlantic is warmer this year, 2019. That's 2018. Again, no comparison. 2018, the Atlantic was much cooler then. That's 2017. That's a closer year. Has been all the way along through these updates. It continues to be so. I think we're a little bit warmer with the Atlantic this year to 2017, though, to be honest. But that is a closer year. That's 2016. Again, not much comparison to this year and 2016. That's 2015. No comparison whatsoever. We got cold blob at this point in 2015, so no comparison there. No comparison to 2014. We also got cold blob in 2014 as well. No comparison to 2013 either. Much warmer with the Atlantic this year. 2013. That is 2012. Don't anything about that one. So that's tended to be like a closer year, but now I think we're deviating from 2012 a little bit. Just generally much warmer with the Atlantic this year. 2012. That's 2011. Again, no comparison. Look at that cold and average area. See, so temperature is there. So we don't have that this year. No comparison. 2011. That's 2010. What do you think about 2010? That's been a closer year as well. So that's there's still a little bit of comparison, but I think again we've deviated from 2010 quite a lot. That's 2009. Again, not much comparison to that year. That is 2008. That might be a slightly closer year if you ignore the cold average sea surface temperatures in the southeastern part of off the southeast coast of America. That's 2007. Again, not really that keen on that year to this year either. That's 2006. What do you think about that year? That might be a slightly closer one. But again, I think this year is just generally a lot warmer in the Atlantic compared to 2006. That's 2005. Again, not overly keen on that. And that's 2004. That might be a closer one if we cool things down a little bit off the southeastern coast of America. That's quite a warm Atlantic year. That's 2003. Again, not really seeing much comparison to that year. 2002. No comparison really. 2001. Again, no comparison. 2000, no comparison. Notice how the Atlantic's getting colder now as we're moving back to the end of the 2000s, getting closer to the last cold AMO period. Of course, that's 1999. Again, no comparison. 1998 might be quite a close match. What do you think about that one? Let me know in the comments which years you think are the closest matches. I reckon it's 2017, really. But, you know, 1998 might be a closest match. 1997, again, no comparison. 1996, not really. 1995, no particular comparison either. 1994, look how cold it was in 1993. Definitely no comparison. That's back in towards the last cold AMO phase. 1992. 1991, no comparison at all. 1990, no comparison to this year. 1989, 1988. We're well back into the last cold AMO phase now by way of the 1980s. 1987, again, no comparison. Look how much colder Atlantic is in 1987 compared to right now. 1986, again, no comparison whatsoever. And the final year, 1985, that's as far back as we can go. And again, we're in the midst of the last cold AMO phase, and we see such a change, don't we, with this current warm AMO period compared to that last cold AMO phase. So I reckon 2017, quite close, maybe 2010 still, but probably deviated from that a little bit. 2012, probably deviated from that a little bit, but still some comparison, but we probably moved away from those. 2008 maybe, and was it 1998 for one, like a long time ago. But I reckon 2017 probably the closest. But let me know in the comments, everyone, which you think is the closest match. And at 1 hour, 1 minute, we have come to the end of part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update. This is the longest update that we have done, over an hour. So I wanted to make this 13th update absolutely epic. It has been an epic part 1, and we've still got part 2 to go, and that'll be the analog side of all of this, and we've got loads. That's probably going to be another hour-long video, actually, tomorrow, because we've got so many analogues to show you as we sign off on our winter updates. As I say, that will be coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m. So that's it for part 1 of the 13th and final Winter 2021-2022 update. Thank you so much to Richard and to Shryan for all of the help on this video. Thank you so much to all of you for watching not only this video, but all of the winter updates so far. We've still got half an update to go. Part 2 still to go tomorrow, and then we will be done, and our winter forecast will be released on Thursday, the 2nd of December. And I think we're going to be premiering that at 7 p.m. as well. 7 p.m. premiere. Get your glad rags ready. I shall see you on the red carpet. But we've still got half an update to go tomorrow. I should be live streaming at 6 o'clock. I'm sure you have questions about this winter update. So, check into the live stream. Have a look at some long range and some short range data as well. And that's going to be great. That's coming up from 6. But at 1 hour, 2 minutes. Oh my goodness gracious me. That's all for now. And thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.